Welcome to Coffee Chat June, July. My name is Kate Dumichel. I am the creator of the Meta Mindset YouTube channel that makes brain break videos in French. And I also have this second channel where I talk about brain breaks. I talk about how to make brain break videos. I do some tutorials about a couple of things like on TPT and making brain break videos. And I also do some resources that I sell on TPT, And I have videos like this where I talk about things that I'm doing in the classroom, things that are going on in my life, books that I'm reading, and podcasts that I'm listening to. First things first, I wanted to talk about the balloon videos that I make at the end of the year. I made that resource about 3 or 4 years ago. It was pretty hard to make. It's available for free on TPT. I used it this June, and I found it a little difficult to use. So I think I'm going to try to change that because it is a resource that I like using for my classroom. The students really liked doing it, but it's difficult to just navigate on PowerPoint. So I think I might try to make it into a Google Slides file. Same type deal where you would click on the video of a balloon exploding, and then you would be able to change the message that's behind. I have used real balloons in the past, but you really have to pre-organize all that because you have to put the message inside, and it is super fun to do, but it is pretty loud, and some of the kids really don't like those loud noises. So I think that going forward, I'm only ever going to use the digital version because kids enjoyed that and it's less noisy. So yeah, if you have any suggestions for me about how we could do that better, you can leave a comment below in this video. You can send me a DM on Instagram, or you could send me an email. I always read the emails, just really haven't had enough time in the past little while to get back to people and fix things and whatnot, and I am going to make an effort to do that this summertime to respond to everybody. Oh, and the other thought I had was maybe to make something like that for the 2 weeks before Christmas, because that seems to be another time of the year where routines and schedules change quite a bit, so it'd be a good way to keep kids engaged and have things be fun and present probably regular activities in a more fun way, and they'd be more engaged and more ready to do whatever it is just because you're presenting it in a fun way. The second thing I wanted to do in this coffee chat is talk about the end of the year and something that I realized at the end of the year. I already recorded a video and it somehow got corrupt, so I cried quite a bit in the last video. I got very emotional. I might still get emotional because I think I'm not still done processing all this. Oh, here it comes. Something that I realized for the first time in my career. I've been teaching for about 15 years in Ontario. Is that at the end of every year, I go through a period of kind of decompression. And this is the first year that I realized that it's me processing the ending of something. So it's kind of like going through a period of grief. I think me personally, I've always had difficulty going through endings. I was a hockey player for 15 years of my life, where it was a really serious part of my life. And even as a kid and even in university, at the end of every season, I would cry just because I was sad that it was over. Some of the friends that you make don't continue on, and just sad that I wouldn't get to have the connection, I think, with those people, which I think is mostly what the grief about teaching is about. If I can back up a little bit to explain a little bit about the significance, I think, of my emotional response is this is the first year full-time back after 2 years off. And so when I started the school year, I was nervous because I knew that it would be overwhelming for me, kind of like felt like starting from square one, even though I have so much experience working at the grade 1 classroom, and I know I have a handle on all that sort of stuff. Um, it was pretty obvious to me 2 weeks into the school year that this year was going to be very challenging for me. Challenging for me professionally, emotionally, with the needs that were presented to me in the classroom. And so I thought at that time, if I make it through this year without taking a leave of absence, I will be surprised. And I feel bad for thinking that, but that's just where I was at that time. And so this year did prove to be quite challenging. I think part of my grief was that I was happy that it was over, which makes me feel bad. But I really, really needed a break. I was burnt out. I was having trouble just functioning. I would get through the day and then I'd be at home and feel like a zombie, not able to do anything really, not able to do any meta mindset. I feel like I could just have a life, essentially. And that affected, I think, a lot of things that were going on in my life. I just felt really overwhelmed with everything. And the other part of the grief, I could back up a sec. Because I knew that it was emotional year, I had decided that, and something else that maybe you do know from following me for a while, is that trying to learn about my own emotions and my emotional response and be really honest and just let my feelings flow, to be an example at school and to help the kids be able to talk about their own emotions and emotional stuff. So I have cried in front of the kids several times this year. There was another year near the beginning of my career when I kind of did that too. And there was a girl back then named Mary who would often ask me if I was going to cry when she thought it was an emotional moment for me. And so this year on the last day of school, I said hello to one of my students and he said, "Are you going to cry today?" And I was like, "Probably." And so I cried when I was opening up the presents. I don't have them all here because some of them I kept in my classroom because I intend on using them because they were so cute. But this is one example. I thought that was super cute. I might show kind of a montage of some kid art and kid presents that I got this year. And then this mug also was a present. I got a plant. I got a bunch of Tim Hortons gift cards, and I just got some cards and I got a lot of art, I got a lot of drawings, so that's why I might do a little montage of that. So I cried when I opened those up, and when I get cards that are written by the kids, that made me super emotional. But I did end up crying in front of the kids, and I just said that I'm sad because I'm gonna miss you, and it's true. Even though it was a hard year, I'm gonna miss the kids. I miss the connection I had with them. I love them very much, and also I think part of it is kind of a feeling of grief or maybe guilt that you couldn't have, that you feel like you didn't do enough, or that you could have done better, and you could have done more. But really, what I did, I just did my best, and that's all I could do. I think most of it's just missing the connection, because I realized that during the grade 8 graduation that, I taught a bunch of those kids, maybe more than half of them, and I just think about how when they were little and like the things that they did and said, and I miss them. Even though I get to see them and talk to them at recess, it's not the same, so you kind of miss that connection that you get with them. But you're so happy for them and happy that they develop into the kids that they are at that age. So it's I don't know, just a whole thing that I never realized before, that's what I was feeling. So yeah, the end of the year is, I think, what teachers are going through, and they're decompressing after the school year is over, is that's what they're feeling if they don't know it. So I just wanted to share that I think that's what I'm going through. Okay. Moving on now to books. Something that I shared in one of my last coffee chats that I didn't end up publishing. Sorry, everybody. I think I will get to it at some point. Is that I love reading graphic novels. I love comics. I love that type of art. Something that's super interesting to me. The last one I think that I purchased was this one right here. Very good book. It's all about George's life. Just the art is usually in these types of books not in color, but sometimes they are in color. One that I shared in the last one, but I share that video. I can share this one, I guess, but this is a really good book. And they made a Netflix show based off of this graphic novel. This one is in color. The art is phenomenal. The story is original and interesting, as you may know if you watch that show. So yeah, that's something I'm interested in. I'll share other ones if I do read them. It's a good thing for me to read at the end of the day. I have never really considered myself to be like an avid reader. I don't know if that has anything to do with the ADHD attention thing. Especially when I'm tired, I like read the page over and over and over, and I find that super frustrating. But when it's images, I stay interested for longer, and the stories are interesting. So 2 books that I intend on reading this summer that are education related is this one right here. This author is somebody that I follow on Instagram, and I often repost her stories about executive functioning. So I purchased her book in an effort to learn more about it. It's pretty small, so I hope to get through it quickly. And then maybe we could have some sort of a live if you wanted to purchase that book. I bought it on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description below. We could do maybe a live or just some sort of discussion somewhere about things that you learned and things you took away, because maybe we could learn from each other. Another book that I bought this quite a while ago. I already spoke to another teacher about somebody that posted this book and had read it. And she's interested in hearing when I'm finished, if we could have a discussion about it. So maybe we could all discuss it together. I already started reading it. I'm on chapter 2 now. I'm not prepared to share my thoughts about it yet, but I just thought I would throw that out there to let you know what I'm reading. And then for podcasts, in the month of May and June, as I said, I was feeling really burnt out and really exhausted, kind of like a zombie. I was trying to make a point of inserting more laughter into my day. So I was listening to the Handsome podcast. I love those 3 comics, and their perspectives on things are interesting. I think my favorite comic in that group is Tig Notaro. I love that, her just style of comedy and witty humor. And I love her story, and I love all 3 of those comics. I love their stand-up. And then the other podcast that I listen to is called The Good Hang. It's Amy Poehler who does that podcast, and she invites comics and talks to them about all sorts of things, and ends up being kind of funny. Also get to know a different side of all of these comics as well. And then something else I ended up watching or rewatching is Schitt's Creek. Something about that show I really like. Makes me laugh. And they're nice and short, and so you can get through 1 or 2 in not too much time, and then, yeah, it doesn't take much of an investment. I've always liked Catherine O'Hara and Eugene Levy and all those guys, but the one of the episodes at the beginning when she's having like a breakdown, she's in a closet, somebody's talking loudly or too much energy, and she says, "Shh, my foot's asleep." I just thought that was hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing at that one. I'll never forget it now. That's what I'm watching and listening to. Okay, and then about the Réunion Matinale, which I'm sure you've all been waiting for. Things that I think I did do and that were successful The salutations the kids really like. I especially like the ones where they're swimming around the classroom or they're pretending to be a fish. Maybe we could do ones where they're pretending to be the sun, or I could maybe make some other ones. If you've got suggestions, you can definitely shoot them my way and I'll add those in there. Other things that seem to go well at the end of the year are the pensée partage. They get super into it by the end of the year, so that's a good thing. Had a lot of great discussions about all of the topics that were in there. So I talked with my colleague, and something that we'd like to do is add more curriculum-based stuff that comes from other curricula, such as math. So I do have, I think, 4 in there, math type ideas like fractions and counting by 2s, by 5s, by 10s. Also, any type of like balancing an equation type thing, just discussions that you would have around math. So if you're interested in seeing more of those, then just let me know. Another thing that works really well by the end of the year is the dessin drôle. So drawing creative things and then they present it. Something that I'm going to add more of is transforming a shape into an image, to try to explore creativity a little bit more, and talk about what creativity is. So that creativity and originality thing is something I'd like to explore starting at the beginning of the year next year. Just because I think even with little kids, they're afraid to make mistakes, and they're afraid to explore that. They're afraid that their answer isn't right, and especially when it's about making something funny or making something creative, they just don't know where to start, and you can start anywhere. The point de départ, or is it called the dot in English? That book is really a good place to start for creativity. The Où Moustache games, really popular all the way to the end of the year. They love playing that game. I've got a lot of resources for that one, and I might add more of that type stuff. The Nombre Mystère I play to the end of the year. If you watch any of the Réunion Matinale videos, I explain how to play in those ones. Nombre Mystère, we focus on the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s until the end of the year, especially at the end. They have a hard time saying those ones, so it's good to keep practicing all of that. Let me know if you want more blank slides so that you can do your own thing. And I'm going to put a couple more pensée partage, as I said, about math, placing numbers on a number line, other type games where you're discussing things around math. So yeah, if you have any suggestions of any kind, please let me know. Okay, well, I think I'm going to end that there. It might be a little long this time. I'm sorry. I had to re-record this video. I hope that it didn't sound like I was trying to rush through things too much. I was trying to remember what I said the first time I recorded it, but the video was corrupt. I just want to leave by saying that if you want to support the Madame Mindset channel, you can become a member on Patreon. You'll get early access to YouTube videos. You'll get access to videos like this one. You will get access to some free resources every month. Yeah, and I really appreciate all of the support that I got this year. I apologize for not having made more videos. I do have 3 in the works at the moment, and more coming. I hope to have more space and time to do the work required this summer because I like doing it. I love exploring my creativity in that way, and I know that people appreciate what I do, so I like to share it with all of you. And I do appreciate all the support that you give. Any words of encouragement sent in on any platform are super much appreciated. Thank you very much. And thank you also to everybody who has contributed monetarily. It is not necessary, but it is much appreciated. It helps pay for music, it helps pay for sound effects, it helps pay for animations, it helps pay for images and backgrounds and videos that are used to make the videos. So thank you so much to everybody who has contributed in any way this year. I truly appreciate it. And if nobody has told you yet this year or today, You did a great job this year. You deserve this summer break. I hope that your break is restful and that you get a chance to play and be creative and explore things that you want to explore and places that you want to explore and connect with people that you love. Don't forget that you're amazing and I love you. À la prochaine!